Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this week's edition of the Midweek Wire. I'm Patrick Henningsen, your host. We are streaming out live on X, Rumble, also YouTube, BitChute, and a number of excellent streams, including Facebook Live. Can't forget Facebook, and on the audio streams, iTunes and Spotify after the program. Thank you again for joining us. We've got a very interesting story, one that's broken only in the last couple of days. And we have, I think, a fairly in-depth research perspective on this, and we'll be going through the details of it. It involves an Israeli official. An Israeli official is visiting Las Vegas for a cybersecurity convention, works for Bibi Netanyahu, and was amazingly ensnared in an FBI sex sting, luring potential predators into encounters with underage children. So as a classic FBI sting, this Israeli official was caught. He was booked, and then he was let go. He was released, and off he went to Israel. Incredible. How did this happen? We're going to have to go through this, and we do have quite a bit of detail for you to share on this, and helping us on this important story is the person who has been following it. We'll bring him on stage right now, Freddie Ponton. He's associate editor for global affairs at 21st Century Wire. Freddie, pretty incredible story, and it's still developing. There's still things that are being discovered, and it does appear there is a cover-up underway. And we'll go through the details of this, but we do have the receipts. First of all, welcome to the program, Freddie.
Well, thank you for having me, Patrick. Indeed, a very interesting story. You know, I think it's has captured a lot of attention over the past few days, and a lot have happened. Literally, that is what is amazing about this story, is that a lot have happens in 48 hours, a lot of statement made, a lot of contradictions as well. But I think it's, for the month of August, it's interesting to have something a little bit spiky like this has come out, that allowed us to look into what Israel do outside of their nation, of their country, what do they do when they're not busy genociding the Palestinian? That is the questions. And the only conclusion we can come up with is Israel is the Casa Nostra in steroids. That's basically what I see here as the ability basically to get away with everything, not only genocide for now at least, but other crimes which are a heinous crime, because it involves child. So we're going to look into that, and I think that there's going to be some interesting information shared today.
Title of the show today is Dirty Vegas, because this took place in Vegas. And what this story is going to show is the level by which Israel can reach into the U.S. criminal justice system, into the judiciary, the legal system, and how political pressure can be put to bear at the federal level via the Israeli lobby, probably a phone call from the Israeli embassy or maybe directly from Bibi Netanyahu saying, you better make sure this guy is on a plane back to Tel Aviv. Thank you very much. And we really don't care about whatever case or investigation you're running. He's our guy. He might be guilty, but who cares? He's gonna be released. And that's kind of what happened. So it looks like there was a situation or two engineered here. More than one situation to make sure this guy could walk, and then a political cover story at the end. And I know that you even got involved in this on social media to the point where one of the main characters in this deleted their personal X account after you quote tweeted a question, which to me is just extraordinary. Now, Freddie, I'm going to bring all the two articles up on stage that were published at 21st Century Wire. This is your research, of course. Tom Alexandrovich case, a win against child predators, a loss for accountability. What do you mean by this headline here in the part one of this investigative piece that you've put together, Freddie? Explain the headline.
Well, I'm very familiar with the term that what happened in Vegas stays in Vegas. However, it's not because that exists that someone is entitled to get captured during a sting operation, been arrested, detained, and been able to literally in no time allowed to jump on a flight back to Israel. And what I'm trying to say is that there was a beautiful sting operation, extremely well organized by cross agencies, involving various segments of, sex trafficking, child abuse, and then, of course, looking at online sex predators, looking at identifying these sex predators. So that's a win on that side. They've done the job. They get the guys. They got 8 of them. All right, so that's not zero results. That's good results. They got something out of it. And it's what comes next that is extremely disappointing. And that's what I say, a loss for accountability, because everyone is asking. If you look at anyone that is talking about this particular case, the Tom Alexandrovich case online, is looking for accountability, because this is the rule of law. This is constitution. This is what these law enforcement are trying to uphold every day. They're trying to make sure that citizens, child, mothers, everyone is protected from these predators. And yet there is no accountability yet. The guys was allowed to go back to Israel. So that's the origin of the title.
Yes, indeed. And so this article here, I think published yesterday, lays out the facts, a couple of days ago, in fact, lays out the facts and just what's happening in the case. And here's part 2. Now, things are getting interesting. Explain to us what happens after that. So the arrest has been made. There's records. There is a charge sheet, court documents. You posted them in part 1. All the information's there. So there's an active investigation. He's been charged. He's been booked. And then things start getting interesting. Explain.
Yes, absolutely. I think this the story really starts from the sting operation itself, which is rather well described in the declaration of arrest from the police department, which conducted the arrest. So it's mainly led by feds. It's a federal investigations, but there are local obviously players and actors that come and join and help. So it's a joint operation as it is described in the declaration of arrest statements. What's really interesting is really how it happened, how basically that operation was about posing for OCEs or law enforcement, feds, to pose as a child, 15 years old girl, has a profile on an application that is a Swiss application for online dating that is known as Pure, and how many people use this application for dating, looking for girls. And in this particular case, 8 of them are not looking for women, they're looking for child. And one of them is Tom Alexandrovich, an Israeli official, executive director of the Defense Division of Israel National Cyber Directorate, that is known as the INCD. So he works directly under the office of the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, and that's also a reason why obviously this has attracted a lot of people to this case. How this such a high level official is involved in this sting operation is a bit of a mystery. And then, of course, during the investigations, we'll look into Tom Alexandrovich, a little bit his background, what kind of person he is, what he's done. We know that he's been working with the agency for about 14 years. So he's definitely working very closely with various intelligence agencies in the Israeli administration. He's someone that has had a very impactful input in the Israeli national cybersecurity strategy, which was released by Israel. And amongst this strategy is a major program known as the Cyber Director, the Cyber Dome. The Cyber Dome is basically the cyber defense infrastructures that has been developed by Israel to protect basically its cyberspace. And this is something they have promoted around the world. At least 12 nations are involved and looking into these programs, see how they can obviously upgrade their cyber defense system and bring them to the 21st century. So Germany being the latest one in June, according to reports. So that's someone, as I say, that has quite a cursus, a curriculum, and is established, as I said, and more than established, he actually oversaw the Active Cyber Defense Center, which was established in Tel Aviv, working closely with technology firms worldwide. So that's someone that has access to the latest technology, dealing with the latest companies involved in the cyberspace and cyber defense, hacking. And he served also as the acting head of data and AI, supervising AI-powered operation. So this is someone that is involved in tracking disinformation, monitoring social media, and managing control, and so on. And that is very interesting because you mentioned earlier that some of the contents of like Sean King, for example, that was, millions of views, tens of thousands of retweets, many group message, AI group message, confirming that something happened there, confirming obviously who was Tom Alexandrovich. And it's really unbelievable because if we look at really Tom Alexandrovich's past and functions and role in this agency, he is actually also responsible for sending across basically requests to various social media platforms, asking them to basically take down requests on X. And what Grok say, I had the message in front of me. It says that approximately 90% compliance per EFF, often targeting pro-Palestinian content. And Grok say, my suspicions align with Gaza genocide statements suspect despite Musk errors claim. All right, so what he's trying to say here and what's happening here is that the Israeli government's under the cover of anti-terrorism and cyber defense, asking this social media platform to take down any post that they feel, basically damage their reputation or simply is exposing some of their crimes or activities. And that is in this particular context that Sean King's post, which was really the first person to report on that, not the first one, but at least one of the first person to really report and provide details of that particular sting operation and what happened thereof. So very interesting to see that and the role of Tom Alexandrovich. So we've covered that in our investigations and our report. And
just hold on for a minute. So just rewind. So just
Sure.
so people are clear that Sean King has insinuated here. He's what he tweeted out in the middle of the night. Elon Musk deleted every single tweet I've made about this Israeli pedophile Tom Alexandrovich that was arrested in Las Vegas for sex crimes against children. Not 100% true what he's saying there. He wasn't. It was entrapment. He didn't actually commit a sex crime. The arrest was he was, I guess, propositioning somebody he believed to be underaged online, and so it was an entrapment FBI scheme. So just to be clear, and he wasn't convicted as a pedophile. So Sean's gone a little bit OTT there, but nonetheless, we're talking about censorship. So what you're saying, Freddie, is that there's a link between this particular perpetrator, alleged perpetrator, and the ability for the Israeli government to ask to take down tweets. Well, look at what's in front of us right here. Is that what we're looking at?
Well, yeah, but basically, this is what's really unbelievable is that the very department in which Tom Alexandrovich is working and is heading, part of this particular department is responsible, to send requests out to social media to take down posts. So how's funny the guy is that is in question now. He's not guilty of anything, he's innocent until proven guilty. Now, a case has been opened against him. He was caught during a sting operation. He was interviewed by the police. He was detained. That doesn't mean he's guilty. All that means is that there's a lot of evidence, there's a lot of facts and a lot of informations which was captured during this sting operation, which indicate that he was interested in a minor, and he was luring this minor, and he's booked, if you will, in that sense, under what is known as NRS 201560, which is basically a felony B. And if you look in the Nevada code, you will see, I can read it out to you. It's with the intent to engage in sexual conduct with a child, person believed to be a child, or person with mental illness, or to cause the child, person believed to be a child, or person with mental illness to engage to sexual conduct, is guilty of category B felony and shall be punished by imprisonment in the state prison for a minimum term of no less than 1 year and a maximum term of not more than 10 years, and maybe further punished, be a fine or no more than $10,000. So that's what the law says.
Okay, so let's just rewind here. Let's start with this Media article, and just we'll work through some of the facts of the case here as quickly as we can. But Israeli official arrested in Nevada child sex operation is released and is back in Israel. We can confirm that that's happened. So this is where the controversy begins. The fact that he was released. And that brings us here. Again, The Guardian coverage here. Israeli government official charged with soliciting a 15-year-old girl in Las Vegas. And police say Tom Alexandrovich brought a condom and thought he was meeting a teenager for a sexual contact. So I guess this went beyond the online realm and got into the physical realm, it looks like. So this is a proper sting. So take us through this now. We're at the press release here. 8 child sex predators arrested during undercover operation. There we go. Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, Office of Public Information. And just take us through here what we're looking at, Freddie.
Yeah, so eight people been arrested during this. We have different, as I say, a joint operation between the FBI Child Exploitation Task Force, and you have many others, local law enforcement as well, involved in this process. Just to go, and then we'll go through the declaration of arrest, which I think is far more precise with regards to what happened during the sting operation from the moment that he was detained and not incarcerated, but detained in a detention center. So we know that he was basically brought to the Anderson-Clark County North Command Police Substation. That's where he was interviewed by federal officers. Very important to understand that, because that's meant that a matter of jurisdiction is important. Who has jurisdiction in this case? Who has lead in this case? It's a federal arrest. That's meant that he is arrested and interviewed by a federal agent. All right, so that's the jurisdiction. From the moment he entered this building, he's been interviewed, questioned, and detained by federal officer. So that is treated as a federal case. Very important, Yep. So that's what is established. We know that his lawyer is David Chestnut. Okay, he's really a powerhouse lawyer from Vegas, someone that is extremely well known in Vegas. He's represented many celebrities, politicians, you name it. Anyone that has big tickets or that is well known and that need a criminal lawyers, that is probably one of the first door he's gonna knock if he's arrested in Vegas or in Nevada. So that's an interesting thing. I could give you a lot of more information about David Chestnut. Is someone that is extremely, of course, interestingly introduced within the Jewish community. And I don't want to do the process of, Jewish people because he's Jewish or because he's liked by the Jewish people. That means he's a bad lawyer, a compromised lawyer. It's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying this is someone that is extremely well introduced. He has received award from universities, campus, and so on, and worked with New York and Jerusalem University. So there's someone that is well recognized beyond just his capacity as a great attorney. This is someone that is obviously recognized by also Jewish institution. And we will see that along this discussion, many other characters are extremely linked to the community, not only in the United States, but also back in Israel.
And that's the important part, back in Israel. That's the key, which makes it a little bit tenuous when we're talking about the politics that's actually at play here, which of course includes the Israeli lobby and the whole kind of ecosystem within U.S. politics here. So I think a lot of this is at play, especially when we consider what actually happened. So here we have the lawyer, and then we move on here, Freddie, Henderson Police Declaration of Arrest, and a few other documents. If you go ahead and bring us through these and give us a shout out when you want to go to the next document.
Yeah, sure. So this document is very interesting because it provides a context. The first page is important. It's basically the detail of probable cause. Probable cause is very important because that is the very aim of, interviewing someone after he's been detained. You bring him for interrogation at the police center, and you're going to ask him questions. So that's mean that you arrested it, that you have probable cause. You don't arrest someone without probable cause. But these documents explain why it was considered as the probable cause, who was involved in the arrest, and it also confirmed that the person that was interviewed at the bottom of the page here is Tom Alexandrovich. So we're really talking about the right person in this instance. And then we go into the sting operations. So the Nevada Internet Crime Against Children, the ICAC, the Task Force of Child Exploitation Task Force, CETF, and all of them are going to get, as I said, involved in this joint operation. And OCE, which is basically an officer posing as a 15-year-old juvenile, is going to basically identify sexual predators on the applications that I've mentioned, and is going to track down this particular person. So it's going to track down not only Tom Alexandrovich, but the 7 others, and look at are they going to move from just having a chat on this platform? Is it just going to be communications based? Or is it going to move from communication to actually setting up an appointment, and it's going to go basically physical, which means that that person intent is to physically meet this juvenile, this 15-year-old girl, and taking her somewhere with the purpose and intent to have to conduct a sexual act. And that's what needs to be established. And that is why these guys are posing and asking very precise questions to Alexandrovich. Now, all that communication has not been released. We have some information about this, but we don't have the full communications and transcript of that conversation on the app. There is also something that has been under discussion, and that is the age of the girl, because we'll see further down in the declaration that Alexandrovich seems to be convinced that the girl is 18 years old, but obviously the law enforcement saying that they are posing as a 15 years old. So
and just quickly, I'm going to intervene just to clarify, OCE, the term, it's online covert employee. Yeah. Online covert employee. I didn't know that term before. So for this type of a sting, that's the jargon, if you will, for this. And here we go. Application Pure and WhatsApp to connect with minors. Okay, so it's part of the same document here, Freddie?
Yeah, absolutely same document. It's a thread. It's got many pages, and we're just going through. And I took the parts that obviously the most telling, that provides the more details of the circumstances that surround the arrest of Tom Alexandrovich. So in this particular case, as you say, online covered employee, and as I say, is a member of the FBI Child Exploitation Task Force. It's a federal agent that is posing as a 15-year-old kid, all right? And he's going to basically see if that guy is coming in there, is genuine, just want to have a chat, or this is a sexual predator. That is the aim of this operation. So they recorded, obviously, the online activity, the chats, media identified within the internet application platform, Pure WhatsApp. So what they do is they go online with this Pure application. That's how they hook the person, and then they offer them to move on to the WhatsApp applications for an easier, quicker perhaps for them safer way of communicating. So that take care of that Pure and WhatsApp application and some of the details. The rest, sorry, just I'm moving up, make it slightly bigger.
So Pure, so here we got evidence. Alexandrovich phone seized by police. So look at the logo for Pure. I mean, it's quite demonic. It's a single eye with two horns coming out. I mean, that's a bit creepy, isn't it? Not very pure. Not very pure, I think.
Yeah, it's very. I find it extremely strange. I don't want to get into the conspiracy world, of course, but it's weird that it's one eye. It is weird that he has this horn, which are well known. For those that are into studying satanic movements and various kind of topics down those lines, but that is what it is, and it's, as I say, it can be used for good purposes. But what Pure is known at, look into the application and what is said about, and it's known and it's really privileged because this is an application that offer great anonymity. You can remain anonymous,
Mm-hmm.
and that's really why people like this application. And it has been determined by the contact that Alexandrovich was actually in possession of a cellular device. So it's fair to believe that from what they're saying, that he was actually on his mobile on this application during that communication with what he thought was a 18 or 15 years old girl, depending on which story you believe. The fact and circumstances is very interesting, because after what he says there, and I think we move a little bit too far.
You want to go back or forward?
Yeah, because we meet the most important part. It's the part where they talk about what happened really, and they give a lot of details about the chat conversation. It's talking about the fact that Alexandrovich, during that conversations, offered a girl basically to go to the Cirque du Soleil. Cirque du Soleil is, some kind of entertainment. Everybody's familiar with the Cirque du Soleil, and it's something very popular on the Las Vegas Strip. So that's why during the conversation he offered a girl to go to. Apparently, from what we understand from these documents, on many occasions, the girl or the agent posing it as a girl told him that he wanted him to bring condoms. That's why the title of The Guardian mentioned this condom, because on several occasions they were trying to establish that he understand that this particular encounter, when it goes physical, it's not about just talking about the weather, but this is about intercourse. This is about having sex. So
Mm-hmm.
Condoms, if someone's telling you bring condoms and you agree to it, that's mean you're pretty much aware that this is not about talking about the weather. So that's really kind of established in this particular declaration of arrest. And then they say that the subject was contacted. It should be noted that Officer Hydra 2714 contacted the subject, later identified as Tom Alexandrovich, with a body-worn camera, which was in operation and recording the contact with Alexandrovich. What he's saying basically is that when they caught him, all right, and when that basically become physical, there was a recording of the entire operation. Okay, so that is at the later stage. First, this is the online chat, the luring, and then when he goes physical, which means that he's moving, he's going to take an Uber, according to the report, and he's going to make his way to this girl in order to meet her to have sex. That's what the reports say. And at that moment in time, there is an encounter. He's confronted by the police, and there is a body cam recording the event. So it'd be great to see what he had to say when he was caught, kind of, probably shocked, embarrassed, and so on. And then they explain and confirm that afterwards, basically, he's placed into custody without incident. Perhaps for me, Patrick, the most important thing in this document is that during the interrogation, Alexandrovich is going to talk about some information which for me are very telling, and it's going to help us understand what happened. And first of all, is a native language Russian. So I mean, this first mother tongue language is Russian, but he's Hebrew and he lived in Israel. That's what he said. And he explained in his interview that he was visiting the Black Hat Conference because he works for the Israeli government agency that we discussed about. And he has been working there for 14 years. And he explained that he had basically a planned meeting the next day with NSA, right? And he said that he has met several bureau people and NSA people over the past week. And what you describe from the get-go is that he was actually attending a cyber convention in Las Vegas, where he's obviously going to meet many people from the intelligence community, NSA, CIA, FBI, anyone that has an interest in the cyber defense or cyberspace and so on and so forth, so law enforcement agencies. And he's clearly basically meddling with law enforcement agency, FBI agent during that convention. So on one side, he's spending time with these guys at a convention. On the other side, he becomes the victim of a sting operation, acting because of his behavior as a sexual predator. So that's a quite interesting position to find yourself in. What does he say? He say he went to the conference to learn. He actually participated in a tuition with Maxime Rousseau, who is some of the top leader in cyber defense and hacking technology. He's based in Australia, head of a consultancy there, just for those that like details. And he also stated that he was in the United States approximately 3 months ago for a cryptocurrency conference in New York City, someone that actually comes 3 times a year in the United States for work purposes. So this is an Israeli professional, is an Israeli government employee that tells everyone and the law enforcement agency and the FBI that he meets with the NSA, he meets with the FBI, someone that has direct connection with the American governments and their agents and federal agents in various capacities. That's very interesting because we'd love to know what these guys are discussing. What else that he said? He talks about basically the name of the girl he was chatting with on his phone. He doesn't remember her name, and but he confirmed that he met her on pure application. He said that his own
just I'm going to interrupt. In the interest of time, we don't have a lot of time. I know we've got a lot of material to go to. We'll probably, if we can get to the political side a little bit quicker, because I know if people have time, I think they'll be able to find these documents. If I'm not mistaken, they'll have access to some of this on our website, right?
Yes, we uploaded the document. It was actually released by Breakpoints. And so, yeah, I mean, the documents is available. I think there's a lot of details there that are worth to go through. But of course, in the interest of time, we can move forward. Just perhaps what I just say is the reason why we titled the second article Part 2, Adam and the Rogue District Attorney of Nevada, because he was using on this application the name Adam. That's what we said. Mm-hmm. That all the rest, as I said, people can read it, and this is posted and this is recorded, so people can have a look at it.
Yeah, and so if we do have some slides here you've given us, but if take us through, but we only have about 15 minutes. So we want to be conscious of that time and try to get to the end if we're able to. But I'll bring this up here. If you could just move through this material, Freddie, and then we'll have time to discuss the implications of this afterwards. But go ahead.
Yeah, sure. I mean, so yeah, I think we're gonna have to skip the declaration. If you just want to go through the slides, probable cause is established. These are the court docket. So clearly, as people can see, this is a document that has a number, a case number reference 25PCH000689. So that's basically a court docket. That's mean the investigation is open. It's got a court, and it's got a reference number, and we can clearly see on party charge information a charge, and the charge is identified as 5105 felony, luring a child, basically, and all the rest of the details. And if you go to the next document, Patrick.
Yep, there we are.
Well, next document, not before, please. You went too far. Yeah, that one. It's another document, part of the court documents. It confirms that after he was released, after Alexandrovich was released, he was scheduled, and it was issued basically a summon to appear in court on the 27th of August, and they even give you the name of the judge, Shifalaka Barbara. Barbara Shifalaka will be the judge basically hearing the defense and the lawyers of Alexandrovich. So that's what this document confirm. Now, the debate on that is very clear, is whether, he was detained, he was arrested, he was booked. There is no doubt about it. That's what we are sure of. Was he charged? That's the thing that we are not sure yet. What we're not sure of, whether he was charged. We know what the charges are. That doesn't mean that he was charged, and it's very important to understand that. And we've seen some report that came out today with 8 News now, saying that he was not charged, that he was simply basically not just released because he was not charged. But that's a complete debate. But
I think, just to clarify, I think the confusion on that was clearly he was charged on arrest, but the charges appear to have been dropped. That's one way you could look at it. So yes, he was charged, and then the charges were dropped. So charges on, charges off. So I think, because clearly the documents show that there are charges, but he has been allowed to walk. So someone has intervened here. That's the key part of the story that we need to get to. So I want to make sure we've got time to do that. But take us through the rest of this, Fred.
Yeah, sure. The conundrum, just to be clear, and to take back the terms that is employed in the local press there. They say Alexandrovich did not appear before a judge and posted bond before a state entitled probable cause hearing, and before prosecutors filed a criminal complaints against him, meaning no judge could put any added restriction on his release, records indicated. So that's what the press is saying. So the federal officer deem, and you can clearly see in this probable cause that he outlined the reason why he believed that he should be charged, because of the evidence he provided and he detailed during this declaration of arrest. However, it's not because he's done that. This probable cause, he found probable cause, he confirmed the probable cause. This has to go to a district attorney. This has to go up the ladder for someone to confirm it. And then from that, they can launch a complaint and charge. How did that happen? What are the circumstances behind that? Was the case dropped altogether? We don't know. All we know is that there was a court, a summons as far as Alexandrovich attending the court on the 27th of August. But the inside details about if someone intervened, whether there was a phone call, something happened. There's no doubt about it. What happened? It's still something that we need to find out with more details, with more evidence.
Okay, we'll bring this up on screen here. High flight risk spreadsheet. What does this data tell us?
All right, so I'm trying to catch up. So I'm jumping in between my slides and yours. And let me see where I am here with you.
So it looks like...
got it. Sorry, I'm back. So high flight risk, basically... this is very interesting. This is actually something that was shared by investigative journalist Jack Paulson, which you probably know. And Jack Paulson came out and said, look, there was a hidden spreadsheet data from Anonymous from Justice dataset that was a leak of the Israeli Ministry of Justice emails. And what they say is within this data spread, there was actually basically a clear indications, a list of 200 and 150 international legal requests from various countries around the world trying to extradite basically Israeli national for crimes that they've committed, amongst which I think, if not mistaken, 6 of them were black, so they were basically they are on the list, but their name is hidden. Now, the reason why we titled that slide "A High Flight Risk" is simply because even though he was detained and arrested, and is clearly indicated during this interview with the FBI agents that he needed to get back to Israel and get on the flight 48 hours later, it's very important to understand, and it's very easy to understand that this person is a high flight risk. So if you want to make sure that he's going to attend court on the 27th of August, the questions that everybody's asking, why was he allowed to leave the United States? What happened? Now, on their side, the law enforcement agency, the district attorney, is saying this is normal protocol. He was booked. We done all the matters. He posted his bond, $10,000. There's nothing else for us to do now. Next date for him is to appear in court, but they're treating him like he's an American. Yeah, he's an Israeli national. We know that he was presented, and he presented himself not with a diplomatic passport. It's mentioned on many reports that it's a non-diplomatic passport. What is not mentioned is that when he was caught, was he actually carrying his passport? Or when he got to the detention center, his passport was still back at the Conrad Hotel where he was staying in Las Vegas. That is details that are very important, because if he had his passport during the arrest, then of course he would have had to surrender his passport, and then someone acted in a way that he gave him back. He basically give back the passport to Tom Alexandrovich, and that's what we're trying to find out as well.
Okay, so so he was a high flight risk, and he was allowed to leave, and we'll learn more about that in a moment. Here, the conundrum: 8 News Now, CBS affiliate, Israeli official planned to meet decoy posing as 15-year-old.
We've gone through that just now. We just threw it. This is the 8 News Now article that came out today, which basically goes back after speaking with the law enforcement and explain, basically why he was released. And according to, not to them, but according to what the reports from the police say, is that he was allowed to go because that's it. There was a moment where when the bail is posted, if you will, at that time there should have been these approbations for the probable cause, something that goes back, validated by the district attorney, saying, okay, we got enough, we've got him, let's charge him. We don't hear that. What we hear is that he didn't even go there. They did all that needed to be done, but by the time they needed to validate that particular probation, because they just didn't do it, and apparently there was no reason for him to keep him, and they released him. It's very shady, it's very murky, but they call it protocol, and nothing out of the ordinary, nothing to see there.
Okay, U.S. Attorney Nevada issues statement. Here we are.
Okay, so here we go. So as you and I talked earlier, I was online late yesterday. Was it yesterday or the day before? Anyway, I was basically sending and trying to get hold of Sigal Chattah. Sigal Chattah is the acting district attorney for Nevada, and obviously she's the top panther, if you will, for this particular case. This is a very senior, high-level Israeli official. I find it extremely bizarre that she would not be.
Just to make a clarification, acting U.S. district attorney, not state district attorney, U.S. district attorney. So acting federal U.S. attorney.
Correct.
So
correct.
Yeah. Just to clarify that. Go ahead, Fred.
Yes, absolutely. A very important remark, Patrick. Thanks for that. And yes, so basically, I was just asking the questions. I put a thread around 10:30 in the evening, and so CEST time, Central European Summer Time. And then, but after the thread, 30 minutes later, I was so shocked. She just deleted a personal account because I didn't want to contact her on an official account. I thought that was just a bit too much, and you don't want to be doing that. you just wanted to ask and establish, what happened, because she had to be responsible for that. It was a federal operation. It was federal jurisdiction under which this sting operation was basically carried out. Surely the federal prosecutor should be in the loop, right? So that's the reason. That was my reasoning, if you will. And when I asked her the question to explain a little bit more about what happened there, what's going on, how these guys was released, what do you know? And then giving a bit of description about who she is, because nobody really heard of her until now, unless you're following news in Nevada, but we on the other side of the world, we don't know. So just giving a bit of background. And then next thing I know, she just deleted her account half an hour later. So, and there was no other communication under this message but mine. So,
so just to be clear, that there you are quote tweeting the acting U.S. District Attorney there for Nevada, Sigal Chattah, and she's pinned this tweet at the top of her personal account, which was posted on May the 19th, 2025. And she says, crimes that go unpunished become crimes that are repeated. So you're obviously touching on the irony of her tweet by quote tweeting here. Perhaps you can explain why Tom Alexandrovich was let go after being charged. So you're pointing that out. Half an hour later, she deletes her X account. I mean, that's just weird.
Yeah, I'm literally finishing typing my last thread, in the thread, my last post, and it goes off. I was like, what the hell just happened? And then I realized she took it out. So I think the content, and I don't think it's because of me, and I certainly don't want to claim, anything to do, and I don't care. This is really irrelevant. What matters is the contents of this account. And that's why I was shocked, because when I went into this account, I went, through the threads during the entire period of the conflict in Gaza. And I just realized this person is extremely involved and extremely opinionated about the IDF. She's literally absolutely in adoration for the IDF. And she basically slammed down the Palestinian, describing them as animals. And there is no one innocent, no children, no one. They're all terrorists. They all need to die, basically. And we need to wipe out Gaza. I mean, for a federal U.S. district attorney, even she's an active district attorney, this is just simply unprofessional. Even if it's on your private account, these are real, and she should know better. She's a lawyer. She should know that what she's saying is inciting, basically, for genocide. So yes, that's what I didn't appreciate. So I just wanted to, put it back at her and say, what do you have to say for yourself?
Yeah. Yeah, and you got some stuff here that you posted. This is the thread on under the quote tweet, her personal account. It's been wiped from X. So
yep.
That's a type of a cover up, obviously. Why would you do that? I mean, that's just so strange for a U.S. Attorney, a federal level official, to go and just reflexively, erase their personal account. I mean, that's weird. So she's clearly concerned about something there. So a scandal's brewing, to say the least. I think we can say that fairly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. We can move to the next post. Okay, so that's the message. You go on Twitter, you'll find all of them. They've been probably, some of them have been removed because nobody likes it. But that's basically a screenshot, not mine. I didn't screenshot it. But someone screenshot it, thanks God, and that's how we know a little bit, a point of view and what's in her mind. And she seems very, very involved.
So
in
just
this Gaza conflict.
Yeah, just an example here. There are 2 million terrorists in Gaza. Lurie was in their homes, and even the children are part of this. Oh my gosh. It's not just carrying rifles, wearing green headbands. The so-called uninvolved civilians are not uninvolved at all. Wow. So she's extreme. Like, this is an extremist Zionist, basically.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean, there's no other way around. Before we when you mentioned the word Zionist, we needed to make sure, that this is not just an accident. This is something that has been over time. This is someone that is promoting an idea, visions on how she sees Israel and why they should exist and the other one should be wiped out. So, yeah, she's a Zionist. And then, of course, the rest comes, if you want to move to the next slide, Patrick. It comes with a connection. So when you dig, and you really don't need to dig really deep, there is few connections you can make. First of all, she's someone that is active with the Israeli-American Council. That was, and I have basically the source of it in a Jerusalem Post. So this is a Jewish newspaper telling you, oh, she's very active with the Israeli-American Council. She's very active there. Now, of course, and that is the reason why on the primary pictures we put on our post, we put the pictures also of Miriam Adelson, one of Trump's major donor, mega donor, if you will. And she's obviously also a major donor for the Israeli-American Council. So that's very interesting to see this federal district attorney being basically linked to the Israeli-American Council. And she's also linked with ICANN, the Israeli-American Civic Action Network. And I'll pass you the details, but she's involved in any possible idea of, especially with regards to education, shaping the minds of the kids with regards to Israel and Zionism, So this is not just someone that is, flirting with the topic. She's deeply involved, and more importantly, she's active. And the post on the left where you see Kash Patel, well, basically there was a meeting in 2024 after the win of Abraham Amade, Arizona, the states.
Yeah, Abe Holiday, who's Druze. I believe. So that's our local congressman there. He ran for AG, but he got caught up in the 2022 midterm election fraud scandal, where he and many others lost by very narrow margins, including governor candidate Kerry Lake. And Abe Hamadeh was one of the ones that got knocked out in that scandal. So then he ended up running for Congress and was successful.
Yep.
There. So there he is with Kash Patel and Ali
Abdelaziz is the DMMA organizer in Las Vegas. Any important fight in Las Vegas does go through MMA Dominance. I think that's the name of his company. I think he's originally from Egypt, if I'm not mistaken. But he's a big name. He's well-known, extremely well-known figure in Vegas. So this is what I found interesting. In Kash Patel is going to celebrate Ahmadeh win in 2024 in Vegas, and who he calls Abdelaziz and Chattah for Nevada, which is Sigal Chattah, the district attorney. So there is the connection there with Kash Patel, and there is more. I didn't put all of them, but there's many other messages where Sigal Chattah is including in the post.
Wow, that's interesting. So there's Sigal Chattah, and there's Tom Alexandrovich in the middle, and then that's Miriam Adelson. Miriam Adelson, the benefactor of Donald Trump, the kingmaker, Israeli lobby extraordinaire.
Yeah, the big questions that everybody is trying to understand, it's not an attack on Jewish people at all. Let's not get it wrong here. This is about, privilege. This is about basically a free pass, and there's nothing more upsetting for United States presidents, knowing that you guys are paying taxes to help Israel on many different fronts, and knowing that when these guys come to your country, they're just going to go and lure your kids. And then when they get caught, they get away with it and they send home. Now, we're going to see on the 27th of August if he's going to basically face justice, because we have a judge appointed. There is no press release, no statement made by the Clark district attorney or office that is basically the case has been closed. All right, so everyone is expecting him on the 27th of August. So if justice prevailed, then this guy should be brought back to the country to face the judge. He has a judge that has been appointed, and that is the question we're trying to answer: is that, was it given a pass? Did someone intervene? And of course, there is a major battle is going on here in between district attorney and as well as judges. And we had a post last night from Sigal Chattah about the situation, because she's feeling the pressure for sure. She's deleted her account, and now people are asking nonstop what the hell is going on. And she replied and saying that a liberal district attorney and state court judge in Nevada failed to require an alleged child molester to surrender his passport. She's basically throwing them under the bus. That's what she's doing. And she's telling basically these guys should have kept this guy in. He should have never been allowed to fly back to Israel. That's what she's saying. And she's basically telling that not only the district attorney of the Clark County Council, which now is Steve Wolfson, and the court judge, which I think we also know the name. You probably have it there somewhere.
Yeah, we can get that. And we only got a couple of minutes left, and I wanted to just get to that last point because I think that's important. But anyway, that other information you're looking for, I think it's here. Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, that is correct. Yeah, this is Judge Stephen Lloyd George. So I'm still verifying that. It's not 100%, but that's the person I believe will be that handle the case from a judge standpoint of view. But the district attorney is 100% Steve Wolfson. So again, so she's throwing them under the bus, and she's saying that you guys should have, ask him to surrender his passport and not allowing him to leave the country. So she's very Zionist. She's very pro-Israel. This guy is a high member of government of Israel, and she's saying this guy should have been detained and kept in the country, is not allowed to fly back. What happened here? Okay, so she's confirming by this particular message, she's confirming that something happened, and it appears to be odds to her. That's what she's saying. So it appears odd to us. It appears odd to her. Is she trying to cover her own rear? That is very probable. Or is she knows better and she knows something going on and she's trying to flush out this guy? We don't know, but both scenarios are possible, Patrick.
Yeah, to me, what this looks like is he was clearly allowed to go by something within the bureaucratic loophole. They opened a loophole for him. He moved, and I just see it disingenuous, her outrage in this tweet saying, "Oh, the Attorney General," and we're talking about Trump's Attorney General, Pam Bondi, just called me outraged, and also called the FBI Director Kash Patel, who's her friend, right?
Yeah.
And they're basically saying a liberal district attorney and state court judge in Nevada failed to require an alleged child molester to surrender his passport, which allowed him to flee the country. So why would a liberal judge or a liberal DA in the state why would they do such a thing? She is absolutely pro-Israel to the hilt, a Netanyahu acolyte, no doubt. Hates Palestinians, pro-genocide, the whole lot, as we've shown. It appears that way by all of her tweets anyway. And so she's playing like, oh my gosh, what happened here? Wow, he just slipped through our fingers. Netanyahu's cybersecurity guru just slipped through our fingers. Wow, oh my gosh, what a shock. Pam Bondi, someone call Pam Bondi. The same Pam Bondi that buried the Epstein files. The same one. Mm-hmm. So I smell a rat here, Freddie. I don't believe this. Looks like fake outrage. This looks like a smokescreen. That's what it appears. She's deleted her personal Twitter account. Stuff's disappearing. And then you have this. Then he disappears. The suspect disappears. Yeah. I mean, come on. Do you believe? I don't believe any of this.
Yeah. And it's something very bizarre to me about this passport. They really, I think the press in Nevada needs to put pressure on these guys, because the story of the passport is very important. Here, if you believe what she's saying that you should have asked these guys to surrender his passport. But she's not saying we don't still understand whether he had the passport, and we don't understand whether he had two passports, right? because he has a diplomatic passport. He's a diplomat. He works for the government. All right. When you work for government, you have a passport. You have a diplomatic passport. Period. Right, so from Israel at this level, just on the prime minister's office, you're going to have a diplomatic passport. And on the other hand,
actually, no, there's confirmed by the U.S. State Department he does not have a diplomatic passport. Yes, he does work for the government. He is not a diplomat, sanctioned diplomat. So So they said there was no diplomatic passport involved, just a regular passport. Yes, he does work for the government, but just a regular passport. So that means that basically he was treated with pretty much kid gloves, no restrictions at all. Like he really wasn't deemed a flight risk. They didn't take his passport. Let him go, basically.
I've got problem with this. I mean, I've spent enough time around governments, and I can tell you the job that this guy has. Let's be honest. Yeah, this guy has a very high security clearance. If you work with 8200, they don't let you go around the world, do whatever you want, talk about whatever you want. His job is highly sensitive. He's dealing with matter of national security. There's no way this guy's traveling just on a tourist visa to go to a convention 3 times a year, meeting with the NSA and the FBI and federal agent. That's the reality. That is the fact.
Actually, Israelis don't need to get visas for America. They have a reciprocal free travel agreement.
Yeah, no, I'm not talking about visa, but still you enter in the country. And I think that it sounds very bizarre to me. Now, I agree with you, and I probably agree with you that what he presented, because certainly you don't want to have the embarrassment, but he did not present himself as a diplomat or having any diplomatic passport. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying we cannot automatically assume that he doesn't have one.
Well, we'll wait and see. As it stands, we don't have any confirmation on that. Maybe that might turn up later. But suffice to say, the main story here is that there seems to be a cover up. There seems to be a lot of smoke and mirrors and deflection going on, and this person, U.S. Attorney, acting U.S. District Attorney Sigal Chattah, seems to be in the middle of it all. And there's probably a few other interesting actors that have helped to grease the wheels of this particular scandal to allow this perpetrator or alleged perpetrator to walk, unquote, no pun intended, unmolested into the airport, onto a plane, and off to Tel Aviv. There you are.
Yeah,
no
that's
problem.
very interesting. No problem. And it's very interesting because I've noticed the fine as well. The fine for this particular offense is $10,000, and they said that he posted a bond for $10,000. The fine is $10,000, and the bond that has been posted is $10,000. As I find it's also quite interesting. This is exactly the same amount, but this is someone that could face between 1 and 10 years in jail. You don't let someone like that go. And as I said, with the list, which you can go on Jack Paulson Substack, absolutely great. He's done amazing work about, the history of basically of many sex offenders being, avoiding justice by hiding in Israel, and Israel have such a poor track record for extradition, basically sending these guys back abroad, to face justice. So I'm not sure what is the legal agreements. Countries have agreement with regards to extraditions and so on. But when you have a list of 2,000 of them, just you're starting to think like basically Israel is becoming a child predators kind of paradise. If you get caught, go to Israel. Nothing's going to happen to you if you can make it in, of course. So it's a bit of a trouble. I'm not have enough information about that, so read Jack Paulson on that because he's done a great work on it, better than I could talk about. But I think it's interesting to follow this because accountability is important. If you want to go and defend Israel, you need also to defend the United States, the rule, the Constitution, everything you stand for. I'm making sure that all those that were involved and that facilitated, aided, and abetted the release of that particular alleged sex offender, especially with a child, we need accountancy, and that's why I think everybody's that we know fight for that. We want to know the truth.
Freddie Ponton, thank you. And again, we'll point people to our website where you'll find part 1 and 2 of this this story here up at 21stcenturywire.com. I'll bring that up on screen just briefly. There it is. That's part one, and there's part two. Part two is also very interesting. That's when things start to get a little bit saucy in terms of the cover up and the scandal there. So a lot of information, details are there. So again, we're just presenting the information here. Looks like a compelling scandal. Make up your own mind as to what you think is happening, but certainly there's enough information for you to get a good picture of what's happening. But thank you, Freddie, for joining us on the Midweek Wire. We'll see. This story might develop into something. We'll keep an eye on it.
You bet. Thanks, Patrick.
And there he goes, ladies and gentlemen. That is Freddie Ponton, Associate Editor for Global Affairs at 21stcenturywire.com. Thank you for joining us. Again, no Sunday Wire this past week. We're also on the road this coming weekend as well. So we're working on what we're going to do for the Sunday Wire this week, though it might be a slightly abbreviated episode as we're going to be at the Hope Freedom Festival in Hastings, Southeast England, on the weekend. So looking forward to that. Great event, beautiful days, very successful in the Rebel tent in Exeter in Devon. So that's why we weren't on the Sunday Wire this week. So busy time of year for live events. Of course, festival season is kind of peaking out here in August. It always does. So that's why we're getting the scheduling going. That's not the only live event as well. We're doing beginning of September, another big one in Europe. So again, we might have slightly different programs we're running for the Sunday Wire, but we'll try our best to keep you up to date and informed. But anyway, that's all we've got time for. Again, folks, thank you for joining us. I'm Patrick Henningsen, your host. Thank you for supporting 21stcenturywire.com. Hope to see you all again soon. Stay tuned for Sunday. There'll be a Sunday Wire this Sunday, and so keep an eye on the live streams. We'll see you soon. All the best. Take care.